Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. As we bid farewell to 2024 and prepare to meet 2025 with hope and optimism, most of us pray for better health or wealth, or better working conditions and opportunities, or stronger relationships. Often we look at external factors to dictate how our lives would be, but we forget it all starts with us. And to achieve a better outlook on life, certain tools are necessary. Let's get on point with Carelle Mangaliag-Herrera, mind coach and founder of TrainStation Philippines. Carelle, good evening. It's so nice to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Good evening. Thank you.
2025, everyone looks at the new year with so much hope, so much optimism. It's going to be a new me.
Oh, yeah.
Why do we have to wait for the new year to say, I'm going to have these new goals and these new aspirations in life?
We like rituals. You know, the brain likes rituals. We like, the start of something. Like on a Sunday, what do you start? At the end of every month, the beginning of every month, we start with beginning this day, this is what I'd start. The brain likes those rituals.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Is it really the brain? It's the brain that, this is the first time I've heard this. It's the brain that likes these rituals.
Yes, actually, there are interesting things about the brain. It likes rituals, it likes habits. There are things that it craves for. I cannot sleep unless I have that. Or like, for example, brushing your teeth, and you can't go to sleep unless you do that because your brain craves for that. If you want something new, your brain wants like a certain thing, like a new year or a new month, because that's how it's always been done.
I see. So can we train our brains to say that it doesn't have to be the new year, it can be,
a
I can
Tuesday.
start tomorrow.
Yes, actually.
Or I can start next week. It doesn't have to be at the start of the month or at the start of the year.
Yeah, and the thing is, the brain also has a big problem with that. It likes procrastinating.
I see.
Yeah, so we want new things, we want better things, but the brain is built to be lazy.
How can we tell the brain to stop procrastinating, to stop being lazy?
We have to understand what your knee-jerk reactions are, your biases. So yung pagiging lazy, yung procrastination, comes from what we call the present bias. I'd rather have pleasure now. Right? So I'd rather watch my movie.
I'll sleep this off. Bukas na lang. Yeah.
That instead of going to the gym tomorrow or today, I will not go to the gym today.
Right.
They say that your probability to go to the gym is higher tomorrow than today.
It's true. It's true.
Now, the problem with that is...
Diet starts tomorrow.
Yes,
diba?
exactly.
Isa pa yun. Okay.
And then it becomes today. And then, it becomes, more difficult to do. So we have that. So if we just depend on yung knee-jerk reactions natin or default, you will go to that bias. So you have to be able to be mindful and say, wait.
No, I'm not going to be... You're not going to be lazy.
Yes, hang on. What's stopping you? What's really the problem here? You give yourself that break to make your brain think better.
All right, let's talk about the most common goals for the new year. What are they?
Working out.
Okay, number
Eating
one.
healthy. So people subscribe for gym memberships. Pinakamataas, nagsa-spike up ang gym memberships. And then 2 weeks after, you don't go, right? You hardly go. And because, again, going back to what our brain likes, it loves procrastinating. It loves just doing the same old things. And if there is a big conflict or a big strain from what I want to do to where I am, pag mayroong tension doon, mas lalong hindi nangyayari. So, meaning, if you sign up for a gym membership and then it's too far or out of the way from your house to your office, the more you won't
So you have to make it very convenient.
Easy.
And as soon as possible?
Yeah.
I mean, don't sign up a month before.
Well, yeah.
Sign up like, you mean tomorrow?
And also,
And do it tomorrow.
whenever you sign up, I suggest to people, sometimes you dress up, go to bed in your gym clothes. Para when you wake up, naka-gym clothes ka na eh. There's less friction from where you are to where you want to be. Put your shoes there. Make sure that the gym is a lot nearer you or probably in the same vicinity as your, same building as your
Does
office.
it help that you have, you buy new clothes or you buy some equipment?
Oh, we've all done that and still not use it.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you've ever bought a yoga mat, but it's rolled up there on the side of the bed. So,
Cheers to that.
Yeah, I know. There was a time I bought an entire wardrobe for yoga.
And you never.
Nagamit.
Okay.
Oh, tagal.
All right.
Until, I learned how to rewire and set myself up for how do you make it easy for the brain to choose this habit.
It's so important that word you used, rewire. I was reading about this, and it's actually really rewiring your brain to what it's been used to. Kung anong nakasanayan niya, kailangan mong i-rewire. Kailangan mo siyang palitan.
Yep.
Kailangan mo siyang i-reset.
Yes.
And the question is, how do we start rewiring or restarting our brain? We're gonna talk about that after the break. This is On Point. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching On Point. Still with us, life coach Carelle Herrera. We left it at rewiring. Very important. Help us. How do we rewire our brain? And more importantly, how long does it take until our brain gets rewired?
There's this thing that they talk about in habits na it takes now 21 days for a habit to be formed. Now, the way that I see it is if you just keep on doing it over and over and keep showing up for yourself, it gets strong. It's like this eh. Palagi kong example yung hair. I remember your name, if I meet you, then there's like a hair-like strand that gets created. Manipis yun. I met you one time. I meet you many times. I talk to you over and over. We become friends on social media. It becomes so strong that you cannot break it, right? Same thing with habits. Same thing with things that you keep on doing over and over that you cannot break it.
So you commit to it.
Yeah.
It's almost like you need to commit to it every day because if you don't do it after 3 days,
wala na siya. Actually, just 2 days eh. Pag hindi mo na siya ginawa ng 2 days, ang hirap na mag-restart. So I always tell people, give yourself a 2-minute version of your habit.
How do you
every
mean?
day. So for example, I have to know, one way to sustain this kasi is talagang alam mo, ultimate goal, what do you want to become? Who do you want to be? Because when we talk about, my expertise kasi is the brain and it's about linguistics in the brain, the language that's in the brain. I have to know, ultimately, who I want to become. Identity is a stronger push for you to have better habits. It's not just about changing the habits. I want to be sexier, I want to be fitter, I want to be healthier.
And so what is it supposed to be?
Who I want to become.
Like
The person you want to be.
Is it an aspirational, do we have to look for someone, like idolize someone for that? Ganun ba yun?
You look at yourself and the kind of, yes, that can be a basis. It can be, hey, I want to be like this person or that person, but do I want to be a kinder person? Do I want to be a person of integrity? Do I want to be a person that is, kind and compassionate? Now, one of the things that's very important with me is integrity. So I want to become a person of integrity. I was able to do my workouts, live up to my workouts. I'm able to lose a lot of weight, like 20 pounds in a couple of months.
That's what you mean by integrity.
Oh, yeah. Because whenever I'm tempted to eat something or I'm tempted not to work out, is that the person you want to become?
So can integrity be synonymous to discipline?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You can call it anything. It can be like love. Am I loving to myself? Am I loving if I don't work out?
Mahirap kasi yung love eh. Kasi yung love, pwede mong i-equate sa, I'm so tired, I'm loving myself
Self-love.
enough. Tutulog naman ako. I'm
Right.
gonna give myself a break.
And tama rin naman yun. Because if you also work out and you're extremely tired, what's the quality also of the workout? So, of course, you be mindful of that. Do I need rest? And then, have 2-minute version of that. I don't know, do your stretches. Do your, like people say, I want to read a book. I want to learn more. I cannot read for an hour. Who told you that it's an hour? If you can read for 2 minutes, go ahead.
So, our rituals, how important are rituals and habits and sticking to them? For example, I'm going to start waking up at a certain time.
Yeah.
And then from this time to this time, maybe it'll be my meditation or my
Yes.
prayer.
Yes.
And then after that
like
is
that, yeah.
breakfast, and then it could be working out. Ganun ba? What would you suggest for people who want to make a change in 2025? Yung that simplest suggestion or
Sige.
advice you can give. So it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, kasi pag sinabi mo, what I want to become, di ba? Parang ang laki-laki. But I want to be a better mom. So for example, that's one. I want to be a better boss. I want to be a more inspiring boss or coworker or colleague. So it's important for you to look at the roles that you have in your life. Kasi pagka iniisip mo lang, okay, if you're a mother, hindi mo na iniisip yung ritual na magluluto ba ako araw-araw para sa anak ko? You don't think of that. It's automatic because you know who you are. You know what your role is. As a father, kailangan ko bang pakainin yung anak ko, magtatrabaho? Yeah. Hindi mo na
It's a
iniisip
given.
yun. Given yun. Yun yung pinaka-effective na life-changing pivots. Like, why did I become healthy? I have a 6-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son, and I'm 51 years old. I want to live long enough to see my daughter walk down the aisle.
That's your motivation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's why I was able to say no to a lot of the things that I used to do.
So what do you say to people who are not motivated or can't seem to find the motivation or more importantly,
Interesting yan.
don't know where to start? Yan.
Interesting yan kasi pagka yung tao walang motivation, I ask why? Why? Right? What's the hunger? Bakit walang hunger? A lot of the leaders right now would ask me that na parang, paano ko motivate yung tao? Kasi kung wala siyang gutom, hindi siya gutom, hindi yan maghahanap ng motivation. Satisfied na siya. So, I have to ask people, are you satisfied? What is the meaning of the things that you do? You give them meaning to make them more motivated. You drive that hunger, that meaning, and it's really giving people goals, the agency, and pathways to get to their goals that makes them motivated. When a person's helpless or not motivated, you look at the life, baka nasanay lang siyang
Ganito na lang ako.
ganito lang ako.
And that's not a good thing.
You know, for me kasi when people say that to me, are you happy with that? Are you okay with that? What's the ecology of that? Paano mo naaapektuhan ng mga tao sa paligid mo with that kind of mindset? If it's not affecting anybody, everyone's happy naman, then I say, okay, mahirap mag-change ng ganon. Mahirap mag-coach ng kahit sinong taong sabihin niya sa'yo, masaya na ako na masama ugali ko. You know? Masaya na ako na hindi ako healthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know? Pero ano yung ecology? When I talk about ecology kasi is, my health is not just about me being pretty or sexy. It's about, again, my family, you know, my kids.
Right, right. But there are people who wouldn't think that way.
Oh, yeah.
That might be the concern. So coming
Reach.
into, especially kung wala masyadong motivation, I'm happy the way I am or where I am or what I'm doing, then that could equate to lack of hunger maybe
Yes.
or motivation. So
Yes.
what is the most important thing siguro to focus on in the coming new year? Would it be physical? Would it be mental? Or will it be spiritual or something else? We're going to talk about that after the break. This is On Point. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. This is On Point. Still with us, mind coach Carelle Herrera. Mind, life, what is it? Is it a mind coach or life coach?
Well, my expertise is really the brain.
Yeah.
I've always been passionate about that, how the brain
is
affects
interesting.
everything. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How it affects our actions, our motivations, our emotions, everything. Like you start palpitating, you start getting afraid, you start, having that burst of courage. It's all about brain functions.
Yeah, it's all in the mind, as they say, no?
Yeah.
So, coming into 2025, to simplify things for anybody who may want changes that are attainable, for example, no matter what it is, no matter how small or how big, are there tools or what should we keep in mind?
I have very simple tools. In my expertise, it's neuro-linguistic programming. So
NLP.
neuro is the brain, how you think. Linguistics is your language, how you communicate. And programming is your default systems, understanding what your autopilots are, how you're programmed. How you're programmed to love, how you're programmed to be motivated, succeed, etc. So, sa akin yun yung pinakasimple. Una, intindihin ko, how am I thinking? What's the story in my head? So if I want to simplify and help people, tingnan mo muna kung ano yung story sa utak mo. How do I write a better story for 2025?
What if you're so biased?
Of course, we're all biased. We all have brains, right? We're either biased towards or biased against. And our brains are biased because we don't want pain and we want pleasure. Kaya lang, doon tayo nagkakaroon ng distortions. Pagka mali yung nakikita mong pleasure as pleasure, right? Yung pala, it'll give you pain. So yung sinasabi ko kanina, oy, ang sarap na lang manood ng TV. Relax na lang ako imbis na mag-workout. Kakaganon ng kakaganon. It's giving you long-term pain.
So you started with N, no?
Neuro,
okay. And then?
So from the brain, you understand, hey, what's going on there? You have to be able to identify how you think. What is pain and pleasure for your brain? A lot of times, just to understand na ang gusto ng brain natin is the familiar, patterns, things that are simple. So if I want the new year to be better, paano ko isi-simplify yung habits ko?
Right.
Yung sinasabi ko kanina, 2-minute version. Actually, meron ng Power of Habits na book and it talks about 1% of each day lang. Show up for yourself 1% and it's gonna change the direction
What do you
of your
mean
life.
by 1% each day?
Okay, 24 hours apparently is 14 minutes. Ang 1% of 24 hours is 14 minutes.
I see, okay.
So I just need to do something for myself for 14 minutes every day.
And that is not pleasurable, tama ba?
It can be something that you can train yourself on to be grittier. Because a lot of people are like, when they fall, they can't get up. Why? Kasi nasanay na sila na pag nasasaktan sila, lumalayo na lang sila. So yeah, sure. Can I, train my brain to be stronger, to get up, to be grittier?
Okay.
To go
So spend 14 minutes
14 minutes.
every day doing something, whether it be, you say, whether it be
learning. It can be a workout. It can be
workout,
reading a book.
Yeah.
Having a difficult conversation with somebody. A challenging conversation. Spending time with your children with your gadgets off.
Yeah.
And just
something
talking to
out
them.
of the,
Yeah, and then
usual.
then you just keep on doing that. Okay. I've installed in my family a habit every day that has been changing things. As I've said, change 1% of your daily activities, it can change your life. It's just like an airplane, and you change the direction by 1%. The Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about this. If your plane is supposed to land in LAX and you're coming from JFK Airport, baguhin mo ng 1% yon, it'll land in Tijuana, Mexico. Hindi ka mapupunta ng LAX.
Yeah.
So, when I started doing that, one thing I changed in my family is every day, we talk about 3 good things.
Okay.
I have my 6-year-old, my
In
11-year-old,
that 14
my
minutes?
husband. Oh, yeah. Or
even more.
Talk about funny things, off yung gadgets.
Okay.
Turn everything off that will just distract you from being with your
That's a
family.
nice thing to do. Okay. So every day, you're able to do that with your 2 kids and your husband.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can also divide it. Wala ka talagang oras. Sabi mo, hindi ko kaya ang 1 hour of self-care. O di, magbigay ka ng 5 minutes listening to something positive. We have social media. And a lot of people, just, oh my God, ang dami talagang mapapanood. So I always remind people, garbage in, garbage out.
Okay. All right.
So just, have that better habit of listening and watching things that help you.
Okay. And then L.
L is linguistics. How do you talk to yourself? Catch the language.
Okay.
Pagod na naman ako.
Nako yun. Teach us that. The words you say are actually very, very powerful. Hindi ba?
Yep. So
Okay.
catch it. And then you can say, the thoughts are, naku, kaya ko ba to? Ito na
Hirap.
naman. Oo.
Hirap naman
Mag-New Year's
yan.
resolution ka na naman. Di naman matutuloy yan. So there's this thing that I've discovered. It's called pagka nagpeperya ka, merong whack-a-mole. May ganon.
Yeah.
So I have a knee-jerk whack-a-mole for these thoughts.
Yeah.
One is, this is not true because, you can tell yourself that. Or, what if I'm wrong? So my bias, all our biases, you can question that. The minute it starts rising na ganyan na parang, mas masarap maging dito, maging comfortable. Wait, this is not true because. Or, wait, what if I'm wrong? I don't want to be comfortable because I want to train a better muscle for myself.
Okay.
So catch the thought, catch the words, whack-a-mole it if it's not helping you.
Or would it also be advisable that when we, when we say things that are negative, that we actually try to look at the positive instead of ang hirap, sabihin ko, ay,
yeah.
kaya ko yan.
Pwede rin yun. Like a lot of times we change the words.
Yeah.
Instead of me calling a stress, I
Right.
call it stretch.
Yeah.
It's not a stress. Kasi nabibigatan ka lang, no? Binabata
It's a
ka nito,
stretch, yeah.
right? Or instead of calling something, like saying something as a problem, it's an opportunity to learn,
Or a
right?
challenge.
Or
Okay.
a challenge.
And then P. NLP.
The fastest thing to change is your physiology, your body. A lot of people say, oh, let's change the language in the head. Sometimes that language in the head, ang tagal na nandiyan yan na nega, right? So ang hirap baguhin. So I tell people, you can go and just change the physiology. So if you're tired, if you're tinatamad, nakaganyan ka, can I change my physiology? Can I just do this? Can I breathe in through my nose? Can I just do like, kaya ko to, you know? Whatever it is, just
That
shift your
helps, huh?
physiology.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, if I'm about to open my credit card bill, can I do that? Kaya ko to, right? Right? So,
Ang hindi kaya yung asawa mo.
di ba? Pag nakita ko na yung asawa ko, kaya ko to, right?
Kaya niya to.
Kaya niya itong bayaran. The interesting thing is, hindi naman natin matatanggal yung challenges eh. The problems will always be there.
It's
but
how you approach it, I guess. no?
yes, and in NLP, you put yourself in a better state. A better program so that you can deal with the linguistics better.
Okay.
If I have a better state, I can see a better story in front of me. If I'm in a good state, I will open the door and see my beautiful kids, and I'll have that energy.
And that exudes, no?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's summarize that again. NLP. N is for and L and P.
N is for neuro, how we think. Our brain is affected by the language that we speak. Lahat ng storya mo,
Okay.
it affects your brain. Whether nagre-release yan ng cortisol, stress hormones, or nagre-release yan ng oxytocin for love, right? Dahil yan sa language
Okay.
that's going on in your head, the story in your head. Now, the story affects the state. The state that we have, the programmings we have, whether you're happy or you're sad. When people tell me, bakit tamad yung empleyado ko? What's the state? What's the story going on in their heads that affects that state? Now, ano yung pwede mong baguhin? Ano yung strategy so that you can have a better program? Could I just move around? My psychology affects my physiology.
Right.
And vice versa. My physiology affects my psychology.
Just an advice to everyone for the coming new year, especially if you have goals and maybe you fail again.
Get up. There's this Japanese saying, fall 7, get up 8. I love that. And, I always remember, there's this term now called anti-fragile. When you're fragile, dali mong mag-break, like an egg, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you are resilient, you're like a rubber band, you're elastic, you go back to your original form. Anti-fragile is not, hindi tayo against sa mga fragile na tao. Anti-fragile means it is the composition of that object. It is the quality of an object that if you put pressure to it, it becomes better.
All right.
Diamonds, gold,
Yeah.
kailangan yung pressure for it to be better. So there are leaders, when I talk to them, they're wartime leaders. They're better when there's a crisis. Those are anti-fragile people.
Got it.
There are people that when they've gone through a trauma or a difficult situation, they get better. So that's anti-fragile. So the way that I see it is no pressure, no diamonds.
Got it.
And if you get
Yeah.
irritated with every rub, how can you get polished?
You can. Very well said, Carelle. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining us. And Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
As we always say, we wish for a better, healthier year for all of us. Maraming salamat to our mind and life coach.
Yes, yes.
Carelle, thank you. And that's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching. Happy New Year, everyone.